So what I have done is I've just taken that entire cosmology where Paracelsus was looking at it under a very Christian lens, and I have kind of zoomed out very substantially. And I just said, well, let's get rid of scripture and doctrines and dogma and principles like that. And let's just take a look at value systems. Let's take a look at principles, and let's take a look at virtues. Now, I started to take a look very much so at principles because if something is a universal principle, then it should be true regardless of what we apply it to. So, in my experience, the alchemical processes are precisely that. If I talk about the process of calcination, which is burning something down, reducing it to its calx or to its ash, we see that all over. We see that in nature. If there's a forest fire, God forbid, then, there you go. You just saw a calcination, and in a short number of years, first you might have something like fireweed come up, or birch will be the first tree that comes up right after a fire. It's always the very first one that grows. And then you can see a restoration of the ecosystem beginning to happen with this very first phase of calcination engaging. And so it's something that we can see on an ecological time frame. And then if I say, okay, well, let's apply this to the laboratory, am I able to regenerate the body of a substance, just like the body of the forest was regenerated by the forest fire, for instance? If I can if I can take this spent material and burn it down and still access something very valuable inside of it that allows me to revivify the body, then that is also a principle, and that happens. And then if I apply that same exact principle with the exact same archetype of fire to the consciousness of a human individual, I can say that, okay, we have to apply fire or unadulterated honesty to the ways that we are, and we have to, burn away our justifications for why we are the way that we are, or what traumas are holding us back, or whatever else. And the exact same threads of these elements end up showing themselves and repeating in ways that are very deterministic and very predictable throughout all of nature and all of creation. And it's through that way that I have started to realize that, many, many years ago, that alchemy really is a science of universal principles. And if we can prove it in the physical dimensions, then we can apply it to the subtle dimensions with the exact same corresponding elements. So calcination is done with the element of fire. Fire is hot, dry. It's catalytic. It will catalyze just about anything that it's put to. It changes its shape, it changes its form, and it's the only element that is capable of changing the phase of other elements. Like, for instance, if I apply fire to water, I can make water be as buoyant as air by way of vapor and steam. If I apply fire to earth, depending on the grade of fire, I can actually turn that earth into a glass that is very, very brittle. I can also volatilize things and cause them to smoke. I can cause them to also turn into vapors and to distill, and I can cause them to be more fixed or whatever else. And if I apply it to air, of course, even air, we talk about thermal entropy today, and we talk about hot air rising and cool air condensing. And that's all because of the presence of heat or the lack of heat. So all of these types of elements, as they show up inside of the laboratory, repeat themselves throughout, our spiritual existence, our psychological existence, and also through our physical existence. And laboratory alchemy seeks to understand the subtler dimensions by utilizing the physical dimensions to be able to work these ideas out and to be able to show what happens when we catalyze with very particular elements, what happens to these substances, so that we have a working diagram for how we can transform the dynamic human spirit as well as the psyche of the human individual.